so many of you, you don't understand the mystery of the death and resurrection of Jesus. So many of you are deceived to believe that Jesus died and his death has conquered everything. Now, I told you something on Easter Sunday, that Jesus died to obtain victory over the devil and gave us his name so that we can use his name, by the authority in his name, to re-establish the victory he won over the devil on our behalf. Now listen, and it has been going on online. Somebody said, after being born again, the devil cannot attack you again. You have total victory. There's nothing like a demonic whatsoever anymore. But I want to show you something today. Acts of Apostles chapter 12 is an event that happened after what? After resurrection. You will see that the Bible says, and Herod stretched forth his hand to vex certain of the church. Yeah, not even the entire church. He stretched his hand, arrested James, and look at that. Because he wanted to make some people angry in the church, he killed James. And the Bible shows us that when he saw that the Jews were happy that, yeah, they have killed one of them, he went further. What did he do next? He arrested Peter, intending that after Easter, after the celebration of Easter, they've killed Jesus. Jesus had resurrected the following year. After another celebration of Easter, he wanted to bring Peter out, organize a public trial, and kill him. But the Bible says in verse 5, the church did something that they didn't do when they arrested James. And what did they do in verse 5? The Bible says the church prayed. And this time, their prayer was without ceasing, which means they didn't keep quiet. You know how to pray prayer of not stopping. They didn't stop. There was no break. All of them were just praying, Peter must be delivered. Oh Lord, intervene for people. They were praying different kinds of prayer for Peter's intervention. Now, I will show you something before I tell you the points for today. Now, when I now got to a point, I studied it. We used to stop at the intervention of angels. But I saw that God answered the prayer of the church in 3 ways. He did 3 things after they prayed. Let's look at verse 18 and 19, verse 20 to 23. Now, we used to say, yes, as they prayed, there was an intervention. Peter came out of prison. That's the first one. But listen, answer to prayer didn't stop there. Look at verse 18 and 19. The Bible says, now, as soon as it was day, there was no small stir among the soldiers that was become of Peter. They were looking for Peter. Peter Ruda, Marie, where is this Peter? There was a stir. Verse 19. And when Herod had sought for him and found him not, listen, he examined the keepers and commanded that they should be put to death. And he went down from Judea to Samaria and there abode. He ordered instantly everyone in charge of the prison. How did this man escape? We didn't know how he escaped. Kill them all. Now, the prayer of the church orchestrated that judgment. All of them were killed as scapegoats. That's why whoever will see the wrath of your God to respect your God in your life, may God reveal his wrath to them. Listen, God didn't stop there to answer the prayer of the church. Look at verse 20 to verse 23. Peter's case was still pending, and Herod was highly displeased with them of Tyre and Sidon. But they came with one accord to him, and having made Blastus the king chamberlains, their friend, desired peace, because their country was nourished by the king's country. So an event happened. They needed Herod somewhere that if I come back, I will come and handle the case of Peter. And upon a set day, Herod, arrayed in royal apparel, sat upon his throne and made an oration unto them. The same chapter. And the people gave a shout, saying, it is the voice of a God and not of a man. And immediately the angel of the Lord smote him, because he gave not God the glory, and he was eaten by what? Now, can you see that the prayer that the church prayed for Peter eliminated the enemies completely? Now, what is our lesson? Why am I teaching you this today? Listen, every child of God should understand spiritual warfare and engage in it. That's my lesson. Every child of God should understand what they call spiritual warfare. Every child of God must engage in it. Do you know why? There are forces who does not want the purpose of God for your life to be established. That's why they are doing everything within their capacity to fight you, to make sure that you don't enjoy the provisions that God has. Do you know that there are so many children of God battling today over sicknesses that they don't know where it came from? Some of those sicknesses are not as a result of carelessness. Some children of God are battling today, listen, over loss of job. Some are saying, Pastor, I don't understand why things are not working as it ought to work. Pastor, I don't understand why people are fighting against me. Pastor, just like yesterday, My wife was there. I was counseling one of our brothers, and I told him. He said, sir, it's like I'm going to start looking for another job. I said, brother, this will be the third one. He said, sir, what do you say? I said, do you notice that there's this kind of hatred? They will like you at the beginning when you get a job. They will like you at the beginning, and all of a sudden they begin to hate you. That was how you lost that job. He said, yeah, it's true. That was how you lost the second job. He said, yeah, pastor, it's true. I said, now look at this one too. You're already complaining. He says, sir, what do? I say, it's time to go to war. Children of God should understand spiritual warfare. I will tell you what it means. Let's establish it in scriptures. Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 12. It says, for we wrestle not. Now, it didn't say we are not wrestling. We are in a wrestling match. There's a match going on. Ìjà kan ṣẹlẹ̀ lọ́wọ́. Bonton sọ fún wa ní pé àwọn tí à ń bá jà wọn kì í ṣẹlẹ̀ rárá. Look at that. We wrestle not against flesh and blood. The people that are fighting us, that we are fighting, they are not physical. They are not human beings that you can go to and tell them that ẹ̀ṣọ́ra yín kí ló dé kí ni mo ṣe fún yín gan kí ni mo gbé ń gbà yín. They are spiritual forces. Herod was only used as an agent. It was the devil that wanted to attack the church. Now look at it. We wrestle not against what? Flesh and blood. But he said we are wrestling against principalities. If you don't understand principalities, just say principal. Those in charge. In fact, beloved, if you know the system in our country, you will know that there are some things in this country you cannot receive if God don't touch certain people. They will tell you your documents are clear. That's why I'm praying for you. Anyone sitting as a principality over what should be rightly yours, and they are saying no, they will not allow it. May God unseat them. Who are we against? The Bible talks about a wrestling against powers. Against the rulers. Look at this one. The rulers of the darkness of where? Is it another world? Which means that in this world there are rulers of darkness, and we are supposed to be sons of light. We are the ones that should come and chase them. Against spiritual wickedness, where? In the high places. What is spiritual warfare? Spiritual warfare is taking your stand in the place of prayer to silence every form of attack you noticed against you. Which means if you notice an attack against yourself as a child of God, you don't keep quiet, you don't keep calm, you don't go to sleep. No, there's a spiritual undertone to what is happening. What is spiritual warfare? Spiritual warfare is you taking your stand, not running away. You taking your stand to say no, this thing must not what? Continue.